So excited about convention. There's so many wonderful things happening. My most exciting part is the relations I'm building with my deputation. It's just wonderful that we're coming together, and we've had all of the new deputies to our deputation have testified on the floor. It's absolutely wonderful. I love that, and we have a new presiding bishop, so I'm so excited to be here.
I'm very excited to be here in Louisville. I'm sure I didn't say that right, but that's okay. One of the pieces of legislation I'm most excited about was A079, which called for the creation of a mental health Sunday on October 10th or the closest Sunday. It took a little debate to get it through in the House of Deputies, but we got it over the line in the end. And now I am hopeful and praying and somewhat lobbying the bishops to pass it in their house soon.
This is my 7th convention, 6 as deputy. And I've served on the prayer book, liturgy, and music. This is my 3rd time, and this is actually the first time that something about music came up. And since I'm a professional singer, this was important to me. And they involve, one involves a supplement to the 1982 hymnal. And this morning at our committee, we heard that the bishops had voted it down because it was going to cost a lot of money. So a number of us raised some objections to that, and I said, for one thing, that we are who we sing. We sing who we are, and we are not 1982. And that liturgy and music are co-equal, and we must spend as much energy, if not more energy, on music than on liturgy, because that's what really goes deep into our hearts. So I think we may have a compromise on this. So this was an enormous source of gratitude to me. We don't have any money yet, but at least we have a path going forward. So that was my moment of the day.
We were just here to witness the election and confirmation of our next presiding bishop, Sean Rowe. It was really exciting to be here for that, not only for the energy that surrounded that election, the vote, the confirmation, but also to hear Bishop Rowe's vision for the future of the church, a church that has an amazing future ahead of it, even as it will change and grow into the future that God envisions for it, that is different from what has been. I'm excited to be a part of that church, and I was excited to be here for the election today.
My moment came yesterday when Navajo land was accepted as a missional diocese, and all of the indigenous elders came up to the podium. And it was not only elders, but it was teens, it was parents, and now we are fully welcoming them into our family of Christ. And I had tears running down my face when they were praying in Navajo. And that is my moment right there.
For me, the biggest shift of moving from parochial ministry to diocesan ministry is that you get to see a bigger context. And being at General Convention, you see an even bigger context. It makes me proud to be an Episcopalian, to be here. The relationships that have been built over many years now are really important to continue to develop and strengthen.
I have been glad I came since literally the second I got here. My flight landed at 12:15 on Saturday, and I had to be at rehearsal for Eucharist by 1 p.m. And I grabbed my bag, got in an Uber, came right here, and from the second I walked into the Kentucky International Convention Center, I just felt excited, I felt welcome, and I felt like everybody was here and happy to see one another, whether you're new, like me, or people who are reconnecting with people. And I have felt excited every single minute of every day. I have loved the legislative process and listening to all of the resolutions. And I'm going to do them both because I have time. I was really, really touched by the discussion around mental health. It makes me really happy to hear Episcopalians taking that seriously as it should be, and it makes me really proud to be an Episcopalian, to know that we are working to make people who are struggling with mental health feel welcome and feel accepted and loved, because everybody deserves that.
One of the things that has been a real delight for me has been our worship. We gather every morning to pray in a variety of languages. We sing from a variety of resources, and there has been a jazz group, the Odyssey, which has been accompanying most of the hymns, piano, saxophone, drums, string bass, and amazing voices combining to praise God. Now, I wouldn't do that every day or every Sunday, but it is amazing for the short run, and I'm so glad I get to be a part of it.
So I'll share 2 times when I knew I'm glad I came. I waited for an hour to get my luggage, and I came back to the hotel at after 11 p.m. And as I got there, I saw some of the young adults that I had met online and engaged in conversation with them, and knew that it mattered to be here in person. During one of the House recesses, I was just standing in line for the coffee with a fellow delegate, and we talked about legislation. I got a new perspective on the legislation, went and found someone else afterwards. We struck up a connection, discovered we knew somebody in common, and my feelings on the direction of the church, as well as how I can participate in it, just changed as a result of that. So I'm glad I'm here.
I have loved being the chair of Legislative Committee number 19, which is on Title III in ministry. We had a situation where a resolution to support deacons and ask for funding for the Association for Episcopal Deacons went to the House of Bishops, and they took all the funding away and passed it, and then it came back to us. And we were able to gather as a committee bishops, priests, deacons, lay people, and listen deeply to deacons about their needs and their desires and their ministries, and work together as a committee to craft new legislation which is more clear and more direct about the need for support for deacons in the church, the celebration of the work of the diaconate, and the need for funding, because if we support this order of the church, we have to show our support. And when we were done, the bishops were happy to present it back to the House of Bishops. The deputies were thrilled with the outcome, and the deacons applauded for us. And it just sort of showed church at its best, all of us working together to create change.